Yeah, I mean, I think, I think Jay said it really well after the game on Sunday, just what it meant for the organization, honestly. And I think, a lot of times as far as baseball goes, I'm out front and center, but, honestly, all the work that our scouts and coaches have done, the major league coaching staff, and really, over the last 4 or 5 years, kind of building this thing, thousands of hours of conversations, thousands of hours being in a car, on a plane, going after different types of players from a scouting standpoint. I think just to see the team get into the playoffs, that's what we do this for. It was, just a great feeling for a lot of people in the organization that have done the heavy lifting, honestly. Yeah, I think, like you said, I mean, I think for Wil, one, he's been healthy, so that's always a good thing. He's had some different things from a health standpoint over the course of the last few years. But again, he's a guy he's got tremendous physical ability and talent, and he's shown it in the past. So I mean, when something's there in the past, it can be there in the future again. I think Jayce and him have a good relationship. I think they've done a really good job. And it's just a compliment to Wil. I think Wil went home last year and he had a bad taste in his mouth. He knew he was a better player than he showed, and he committed himself. And I think we've seen it with his offensive approach. We've definitely seen it from a defensive standpoint. He's played a really good right field. We've seen him on the bases. So I think when you have a very talented player that kind of left last year with a bad taste in his mouth, that I think is connected with, Jayce and Wayne Kirby and Damian Easley and Ryan Flaherty, and he put the work in. So it's really a compliment to him, and he's had a great year.
And the last thing, how important was the timing of his breakout to have it land this year as you guys turn the corner?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, if you're going to do good things as a team, you need a lot of talented individuals that kind of feed off each other. And I think for Wil, again, like being around a lot of other good, talented players, he's been, arguably as valuable as anybody for us. But I think just being part of a really talented group, I think that's all part of it. And, I think for us looking at our team, it's not just one key guy. I think every night there's somebody that's been able to step up, and really at different parts of the season, different people have carried us, which is probably, the signal that, that we have a decent team. But Wil's been obviously a big part of it for sure. Yeah, I think, so Pete DeYoung on the pro side, he's overseeing our advanced scouting, process for the playoffs. We really haven't got too caught up in, who we may play or anything like that. I think, biggest our focus just on ourselves and trying to get through the season and kind of finishing strong through the end of the year through Sunday. And then also obviously it's going to be a really exciting time for baseball in the next few days. It seems like it changes hourly, who's in what spot, who's in what seed. So I think for us, we're just trying to be prepared for any possible scenario. We've got our pro scouts. They're not able to go out into the field and see these games live. So our pro scouting group and, our front office team is, they've got their assignments on the different organizations that they're watching, and, they're trying to do it remotely. Like a lot of people are doing their jobs here right now. So it's, they're going to use every possible piece of information they can get to try to give our club a little bit of an advantage. But it won't be at the ballpark. It's done remotely, and, we're prepared for a lot of different scenarios.
You may not know who you're going to play until Monday, even if the Cardinals have to play a couple more games. It's a best of three. You're going to see a team that you haven't seen in at least a year, probably. Are there other variables, other unknowns that creep into your head about going into that sort of best of three?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of, setting a roster, I think for the most part, I think we've got a pretty good idea about the main players that are going to be on the roster and what spots they're going to be, assuming that we can end the year healthy. I think we still have a few players that we're working back into, and that'll be a focus for us over the course of the next few days is, some of the guys that have been down from an injury standpoint, Hosmer, Pham, taking a look at Austin Adams as well, who we just added to the roster a few days ago, coming back from the knee surgery. I think we're going to want to look at those guys, just kind of getting a sense of where we're at going into a playoff scenario. As far as 3 games versus 1 game, each scenario is a little bit different. So I think we'll start talking about that more here over the course of the next 3 or 4 days. We've got some work to do to hopefully lock up home field games for us. And then part of it, part of it for us, part of the conversation will also be who we're playing. I think in terms of how our roster stacks up, there may be, maybe some teams that we feel like are stronger from a certain side or present different challenges. Obviously, each club presents its own challenges. So I think that's kind of what the weekend is for us: is get healthy, get some guys back in the lineup. I think start talking about our roster. Hopefully, get ourselves a home playoff game here, a playoff series in that first round, and then try to line up best depending on who we're playing. And we may not know that until Sunday or Monday.
As one of the more powerful teams in the league, is that best of three? Do you view it differently than perhaps if you were a 7 or an 8 seed?
I don't think so, honestly. I mean, I think, I think we're going into it. It's baseball playoffs, and that means anybody can win. I think it's a short series. And I think from our standpoint, I think the big thing for us, I think coming out of Sunday and seeing the players celebrate, I think they had, they enjoyed and kind of appreciated the moment. But I think the cooler part, I think overall for us, was you got a general sense that was kind of the first step for this group, and I think they have a lot of belief that they can, that they can have a good run here in the postseason. So I don't think it really, whether or not, a 7 seed versus a, 4 seed. It's nice to be playing at home, even though it's not in front of the fans here. It's just nice to be at home and be in an arena that our players know well. But in terms of the preparation, all that, I don't think much really would have changed, or the mindset, honestly, going into the playoffs.
Hi, AJ. I think tomorrow is the day that postseason teams have to enter their playoff quarantine bubble. What does that mean for your team? And what have you guys done to keep your players and your staff occupied when you are quarantined at a hotel?
Yeah, I think it's kind of been, again, I think it's pretty much been the way of life for everybody here over the last couple, over the last 2 months, the road trips we've had. But yeah, I think it probably takes up to a different level here going into the playoffs in terms of just the focus and and in terms of what we need to do as a group. But basically we'll get on the plane after the game tomorrow and go to San Francisco, and you're basically going from the hotel to the ballpark and nowhere else. So I think for our group, our players have, they've been good with it all year. They understand the importance of it. They understand that it's a competitive advantage, and also just from a health and safety standpoint, being disciplined with that. So we'll continue to, again, it's a lot of conversations from a lot of different people on our training staff, front office, myself, Jayce. We'll continue having those conversations with the group. The players have taken a lead in that, but I think they've all understand this is the new normal. This is the way it is. This is the way it's going to be in the playoffs. And again, they love playing baseball. They love getting on the field, and they understand this is part of that. So I wouldn't anticipate anything different here over the course of the next couple of weeks.
Thanks.
Pretty loose team, it seems like. Is that start with him, or what is his impact directly on this group?
I think again, each team's a little bit different. So I think with Jayce, I think he in general, he's talked about he'll read the club, and then you can't really, in terms of changing people's style, try to play to the strengths of your club. And we have a team that, I think they're confident, they enjoy playing, they like to have fun, and yet, but on the field, there's a lot of attention to detail. And I think that's reflected in our coaching staff. You've got guys like Bobby Dickerson and Wayne Kirby, Damian Easley, Skip, a lot of different personalities, but they're guys that enable the players to do their thing and perform and try to create a relaxed atmosphere. But they understand there's accountability, and there's good things that good teams do, and there's winning components that teams bring every single night, and those things never get overlooked, by Jayce or by any of our coaches. And I think we've had a pretty good balance of letting the guys be themselves, letting them be relaxed and go out on the field and play, but also having a real attention to detail on the things that really matter. And Jayce kind of led that pursuit from a staff standpoint.